very few people in India have ever heard of or discussed about the impact of the partition in northeastern India. While the whole country has always discussed about the horrors of partition almost every year, what has always remained away from the public eye is how the northeast had suffered, Assam had suffered because of the partition of 1947. It is very strange to believe that on the 15th of August, when India became independent and the whole country was rejoicing, Assam and the northeast were weeping. Why? Because as suddenly overnight on the midnight of 14th and 15th August, India was independent. A new nation was born close to us in eastern part of India called East Pakistan, and because of that, the vital road links, the vital railway links and the vital waterways links between Assam northeast on one side and the rest of India on the other was suddenly snapped. It was cut off. And because of that, there was no movement of people became possible from Assam and the northeast to rest of India. There was no movement of goods. There was no transportation of goods and essential items. And then it finally impacted upon the economy of the region, on the conditions of the people. On the other side, the massive production of tea in Assam suffered because the exports could not be taken out of the region because there were neither roads, nor railways, nor waterways. Why, people would ask? Because all the roads, all the railways and all the waterways between Assam on one side and Bengal or Calcutta on the other side were passing through eastern Bengal, which suddenly became East Pakistan. And we had a new country there which was not friendly to us. That was the first economic impact of it. Simultaneously, what happened was that large number of people had left their homes and hearts in eastern Bengal because of the feeling of insecurity, because they became insecure in a country, in their own land. They had become strangers and they started flocking to West Bengal on one side and largely to Assam and other northeastern region, today's Meghalaya, today's Tripura on the other side. And that was one way they had all become a huge burden. The refugee burden fell on Assam. What was more surprising was that a large number of people who got their land, they got their own country on the other side, they also came in influx, as a huge influx to Assam. They were not wanted population here. They were all infiltrators. We got refugees here, we got infiltrators here. The Hindus and the Buddhists, they left their homes and hearts and flocked to Assam, and along with them came the land-hungry Muslim peasants of eastern Pakistan and to occupy land in Assam and in the northeastern region. As a result of that, the demography suffered, the ethnic communities of the region, the indigenous communities of the region, the identities got threatened. And while the pangs of the wounds of the partition in the western part of the country have by and large dried up and things have settled, the wounds, the pains of the partition in eastern part of the country, particularly on Assam and particularly on Tripura, on Meghalaya, on Mizoram continues today. Imagine, suddenly Tripura, which was a princely state at that time, was surrounded by a new country called Pakistan, eastern Pakistan, which was suddenly became inimical to us. People remember very well in India that as soon as India attained independence and Pakistan was created, Pakistan invaded Kashmir. People do not remember, people have not heard of that. The same Pakistan, the eastern Pakistan, they made a huge plan to attack, invade and occupy Tripura. Fortunately, thankfully, the then Prime Minister or Premier of Assam, Lokopriya Gopinath Bordoloi, he took the initiative and with the support of the Union Home Minister, the Iron Man of India, Sardar Patel, forces were flown into Assam, forces were flown into Agartala, and Tripura was saved from becoming part of East Pakistan. And the Northeast continues to suffer because of the large scale influx of people from the other side of the border still coming in to Assam, to other parts of northeastern India and threatening the demography of this region. Why this happened? People would ask, why would they leave their own country and come here? One, as in 1931 and 1951, the census reports had said that this large number of people, the unwanted population who came from eastern Pakistan, they were described as land-hungry people from that country who came to occupy land here. That was part A. Part B, the most vital thing was that in 1906, in Dhaka was born an organization called Muslim League, and one of the most important objectives of Muslim League was to change the demography of Assam, to change the demography of Tripura and convert this into a Muslim majority state and expand the area and create a larger Muslim country surrounding what was at that time called East Pakistan. And these pains continue, these conspiracies continue, and Assam and the Northeast are yet to be free from the pangs of partition, from the fears that were created out of because of partition, from the issues that started happening in the Northeast because of the partition of 1947. At this point, we must also remember that there was a huge conspiracy to include the entire Assam into what would become East Pakistan then. The ploy, which was given birth to by Muslim League, which was suggested by Muslim League, was very easily taken by the British government in London, and they definitely intended that while India would become independent, a permanent problem would be kept here, will remain here, so that India would continue to suffer for all days to come. The particular conspiracy was they had a plan of dividing India into three parts. It was called a grouping plan. The mainland India would be called Group A, where all the provinces of then British India and all the princely states would constitute India. Group B was the western part of India, which subsequently became Western Pakistan, and Group C comprised of Assam, Eastern Bengal and present-day West Bengal. And Assam was pushed into Group C so that it would become a part of the proposed East Pakistan of that time. It was Gopinath Bordoloi, the great leader of Assam, who was called Lokapriya. He, along with his very brilliant and very courageous lieutenants like Rupnath Brahma, like Bhimbar Deori, like Mohan Raman Chaudhary, like Vijay Chandra Bhagavati, they all teamed up and they went across the country to convince the leaders of the then Congress, including Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. They were very powerful people at that time, Sardar Patel and all. But very unfortunately, it's all written in history that Nehru, Azad and Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, they turned down the request of Gopinath Bordoloi and the Assam team, saying that let us get independence first and then we'll look at what problem Assam was facing. Had it not been for Gopinath Bordoloi approaching Mahatma Gandhi, approaching Sardar Patel and taking the help of Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Assam and the Northeast would have been cut off from the rest of India and have been merged with what became East Pakistan in 1947.